The man went out looking for a monk who lived nearby. From the monastery, after wandering in the desert, he found it. I want to. I know the first step that a path must take. Faith. The monk took him to a small well and asked him to look. To his pony in the water he tried to walk, but the monk was thrown. With pebbles in the water, it vibrates. The man said, I can't see my face when you're lying down. Quasi-class, Almam so-and-so. The monk said, as it is impossible for one to see his face in troubled waters, it is impossible to search for God. When your mind is troubled by searching, that's it. The first step. Hand. He summoned the old hermit to appear before the king of time, who said to him, I envy the clergyman who is content with little, who has, like you, O hermit. The hermit said, rather, I am the one who. I envy you, my lord, because you are content with what is less than what I have. The hermit said, it is true, my lord. But I have the music of universes, mountains and rivers in the whole world, and the sun and the moon. Because God is in my heart. While my Lord reigns. Only this country. Faris said to his companion, let's go out to the mountains, where God resides. I want to prove to you that all he does is that he is. He commands us and we obey, while he does nothing to relieve us of our troubles. My strongest faith. The darkness. Take up your horses from the stones that are on the earth. The first said, did I not tell you? Here he is after struggling to climb. He asks us to carry stones. I will not obey him. The second did, as commanded by the voice. And when they returned to the foot of the mountain, it was sunshine. The first morning shines on the stones that the night carried. The first. The stones were among the finest diamonds. Says, Teacher, the will of God may sometimes be ambiguous, but always for your own good. The teacher says, listen to all that God has blessed you with today. Yes, God can provide. Touch, there is a bank, invest. You'll have the grace to use it when you need it. Come on, before you get lost. From you forever. God knows that we are creative in our lives. Self. On the day he will give us clay to make statues, and he will give us cloth and the brush on another day. But we can't use mud on canvas, nor pens for sculpture. For every day, his miracle. Accept God's grace. Get your artwork done today. Tomorrow. Buddha was sitting among his disciples one morning when a man approached them to ask, does God exist? Buddha said, yes, God exists. After lunch, another came to ask, is God existing? Buddha said, God does not exist. At the end of the day, a third came to ask the same question. Buddha said to him, you know better. A student said, it is strange for you, so I gave them 3 different answers to the same question. Are different. Each of them has his own way of approaching God. Some of them believer, some of them deny, and some of them doubt. Eve was walking in heaven when I approached her. The snake says to it, eat this apple. Eve refused because it was in accordance with the commands of God. The serpent begged her, whole. You will become more beautiful for your husband. Eve said, I don't need that, as he does not have other than me. And there is no one else here. The snake laughed, yes, he is another woman. And because Eve did not believe her, the snake took her to a summit, a hill where there was a well. Here is the other woman in front of you at the bottom of the well. Look. Adam hid it there. Eve saw a picture of a beautiful woman. 8. The apple. The teacher says, there are two gods. The God they taught us about. And that is what teaches us. Deity they usually speak of. And that which speak to us. The God we have learned to fear, and the one who speaks to us about mercy. There are two gods. The God who is in heaven and that who we share our daily lives. The God who commands and forbids and commands us. And he who pardons our sins and forgives us our doubts. The God who threatens us with woe, destruction and hell. And that which he guides us to the straight path. God who crushes us under our sins. And that who frees us with his love. The animal trainer of the circus can take control. Elephants with a simple trick. When the animal is small, one of his legs is tied to a tree trunk. And no matter how much the elephant tries, the little one gets rid of the shackle he can't. And always trusting God, God does not abandon his children. Loyal. At night, the teacher asked his student to tie the horses to a rock close to the tent. The student went to carry out his orders, but he did not forget what the teacher said to himself. Perhaps he wants to test the strength of my faith. Therefore, I will leave the horses in the care of God and leave them without tying them. In the morning the student discovered that the horses had disappeared. So he returned to his teacher in agitation. You know nothing about God. I left the horses in his care, as I said, and now they have disappeared. The teacher said, God wanted to guard the horses. But in order to do so, I needed your hands for me. Connect it. Al-Mutlam said, a singer in Tarika, Alman Mac Mosque, babe. I wrote a phrase on it. Come back and tell me what that phrase says. The student went after mobilizing his soul, body and time, then returned. Level to the teacher, it's impossible. The teacher asked him, is the phrase written on a wall or not? On the door. At the door, sir. All right, son, put your hand on the handle and open the door. The student went and did as he was asked. And because the phrase, it was strewn with dust, it happened when the door was opened. And because the door is wide open, and I arrive, student his way. The example was Michelangelo when asked about how to make his statues. It's very simple. When I look to the block of stone, I see the statue inside it and it becomes all. What is required is to remove from around him everything that is not necessary. The teacher says, inside each of us is a work of art destined to be. Makes it. This is the main point of our lives. And whatever we try to deceive ourselves, but we know how important it is. The work, the silence inside each of us is usually obliterated by years of fear, hesitation and a feeling of guilt. But if we decide to remove those things to be unrelated, if we stop doubting our abilities, we will be able to continue carrying the message estimated to us. That is the only way to live honorably. The student asked his teacher, how do I know the best way? Behavior in life. The teacher asked him to make a table out of the wood. When he almost finished it and all he had to do was hammer in some nails to install the brightening patch, was beating all. Nail 3 specific beats. But one of the nails was hard. It had to be a 4th. However, the 4th accuracy was introduced. Screw deep and pity the wood. The teacher said, your hand is accustomed to 3 beats. When anything becomes a habit, it loses its meaning. It might even happen. Damage. Every business is yours. There is one secret: do not let. Usually you control your behavior. An old Chinese man was walking in the snow when he met him. Woman crying. He asked her, "Why are you crying?" She said, "Because I remembered my past life, and my lost youth, and the beauty that I used to see in the mirror, and the men I loved and who loved me." God is mighty cruelty because it gave us the ability to remember. He knows that I will remember the spring of my life and cry. The man stood in the snow, contemplating, staring at a fixed point. Suddenly, the woman stopped crying and I asked him, "What are you rich in before you?" The wise said, "I see a field of flowers." God has been merciful to me and generous, so He granted me the ability to remember. He knows that I'm in the winter. I always remember spring and smile. All of a sudden the good man's fortune was lost. And because it was, he knows that God always helps him. He will pray and call upon Him. Lord, help me to win the lottery. The man's shadow is praying years and years, but he did not earn and remained poor. And when he died on his way to heaven because of his kindness and piety, but he stood when the door admonishes his Lord. He said he spent his whole life obedient to God. But God did not make him win the lottery. Is this the promise? Right. And God said, "I wanted to make you earn it, but despite my great desire and willingness to do so, you did not denote the lottery ticket." The legend of the desert says that a Bedouin wanted moving to another oasis. He began to download a sentence: baby rugs and utensils and sacks of clothes, and the camel was obedient and accepted everything he carries. And while he's about to leave, remember, the Bedouin is a beautiful bluebird feather that his father had given him. He brought it and put it on the camel's back. But the camel wobbled. Right away, he died. The Bedouin must have stopped. He wonders, how can a camel not be able to carry a feather? We sometimes think of others the same way. When we do not understand that a little joke can make us suffering is overflowing. The traveler was having lunch with a friend of his. A drunk man at the next table is trying to talk to her while eating. The woman asked the drunk to stop. It will say, "I speak of love in a way that no one can. Drunk like me. I am happy, madam. I try to communicate with strangers. So what's wrong with that?" The woman said, "This is not the time." She said, "Do you think that there are certain times? The occasion is only for Alizan to express his happiness." The woman called him to join them. The teacher says, we all need love. Love is part of human nature, is like eating, drinking and sleeping. For you, be humble. 0.6 I go and look for love and learn that the stronger your will is, the more willing you are to love. Will increase what? Receive it in return. The magician stood in the middle of the square and took out 3 from his pocket. Oranges, and claimed to play in the air. People flying around amazed at his skill and sleight of hand. Someone said, "So is life. We always have an orange in both hands, and the third in the air. But the third is the whole story." He threw it with skill and sophistication. Revolves in its orbit. We are all like this witch. We meet a dream in this world, but we never control it. At times like these, you should know. How do you leave yourself in the hands of God and ask? Perhaps the dream revolves around its correct orbit and returns, verified, to your hands. The teacher says, The word is power. Words change the world and the human too. We may have been told we shouldn't talk about beautiful things happen to us for fear of the envy of others. This is not true at all. That the victors speak with pride, and pride for the miracles in their lives. When fired in the air, positive energy will attract many who wish you the happiness. Envy, defeated and losers will not befall you. Bad. They can only if you help them. Know you fear something. Talk about the beautiful things in your life with each who wants to listen to you, and wherever you find deaf ears. Spirit, the world is in dire need of your happiness. A duelist in the world. His teacher, who is the most clever in the cold? I will not have a there is a rock that I want to insult. And the custody respond to LK with the sword then? As Adam did not leave for good, and if he ends it, he said, weighing 00H.0 and if. For me, however, this was not my question. My question, who? At night that looks like 07FL rather mask to the rock. Without a sword being stripped of its sheath except, no one can defeat him. Your hermit included a whole year and it was. He only eats once one class. The sparrow after this sacrifice asked his father to reveal. It has the true meaning of abyssin. But the book did not hear a response. He said the hermit to himself, waste of time. I have given so much to God, but he did not respond to me. I better include this place to search. About a priest who knows the meanings of the book. And at this moment, he appeared. An angel to say to him, your life is a year that made you think that you are better than others, and God does not respond to someone who is rich. And when I humbled myself and decided to ask for the help of others, God sent me to you. And the angel explained to him what he wanted to know. The witch doctor was walking with his student in a forest. African. Despite his high physical fitness, the doctor was. He walked very carefully and cautiously while the student stumbled and fell. On my way. And every time he got up to curse the road. And the earth follows his mentor. After a long walk, they came to a place sacred. Without stopping, the doctor looked at the student and turned around. It seemed back. The pupil said, you did not teach me anything today, sir. After he signed again, the doctor said, I was teaching you things, but you did not learn. I was trying to teach you how to deal with life's bumps. The student asked, how is that? He said, the same way you deal with bumps. The road. Instead of cursing where you fall, try knowing why you fell first. The teacher says, if you must cry, cry like children. I was a child one day, and one of the first things that I learned in life is to cry. Crying is part of life. Do not forget that you are free, and that showing your emotions is not a disgrace. This is how babies cry and know the quickest way to get back to the recurrence. Have you noticed how babies stop crying? They stop because something catches their interest. Something calling them on to the next adventure. Children soon stop crying. So it will be for you. But that won't happen unless you cried like children. The teacher says, you must take care of your body. The body, the temple of the soul, is worthy of your love and respect. It is necessary to benefit of staying in the best way. We have to be no-kill for our dreams and to focus our efforts to this end. But we must not forget that life is small delights. Every minute of his time for God. The teacher said, then all that remains is for you to pardon me. your enemies. The disciple looked at him in astonishment. But that's not necessary. I hold no grudges against any of my enemies. The teacher said, perhaps you think that God bears a grudge for you. The disciple said, no, sir. The teacher said, yet you ask for his pardon. I do. It's the same with your enemies, even if you don't hold a grudge to any of them. He who pardons washes his heart and purifies it. An Australian legend tells of a magical priest who he walks with his 3 sisters. When they met the most famous swordsman, he said, swordsman, I'd like to marry one of those pennies. Beautiful women. The priest said, if you marry one of them, you will be sad. Others. So I am looking for a tribe that allows its children to marry from. And they continued their journey for years without finding a tribe like that. One of them said after the walk made them faint, I could see at least one of us is happy. The priest said, I have sinned indeed. But the fire. Too late. Then he transformed the 3 sisters into blocks of the rock, so that everyone who passes through them realizes that someone's happiness is. It does not necessarily mean the misery of others. It comes on Friday and you come home. Carry with you newspapers you haven't been able to read for the week. Turn on the TV without sound. You put a tape in a machine registration. You use the remote control to jump out of a channel. Nothing new in the newspapers. Boring TV shows, audiobooks I've listened to it dozens of times before. Your wife is patronizing children's affairs. Sacrifice the most beautiful things of life without understanding fact, a reason for that. You seek excuse between you and yourself to say, this is life. No. Life is not like this. Try to about her again before life is wasted. Love did not prevent anyone from pursuing his dream. 3 fairies attended the celebration of the baptism of a prince. The first gave him a talent to find his lover, and I gave him the second money. It is enough for him to do as he pleases. And the third gave him beauty. And as it is the case in all fairy tales, a witch appeared, and because no one invited her to the party, so she decided to take revenge. She said, because you have everything, I will give you more. You will be talented in whatever you try to do. The prince grew up handsome, rich and loving, but he did not complete his message. Was a painter, excellent essay, musician, athlete. But he never could. He completes the work he is doing. Soon he was distracted and turned to another job. The teacher says, all roads lead to the same place. But choose your path and follow it to the end. Don't try to walk in all ways at the same time. The man was driving his luxury car when it collapsed its frame. When he tried to replace it, he discovered it had no lever. Hassan. I'll go to the nearest house to see if I can borrow a crane. He was walking, he said to himself, but the one I'm going to borrow may see my fancy car and ask for a price. That maybe he asked for $10 and maybe 15, because he knows I need the lever, and he might take advantage of me. And he asks for 100. The more he kept going, the higher the price. When he reached the nearest house, his owner opened the door. Suddenly the owner of the car shouted, "You are a thief! The crane is not worth all that. I don't want her." Who can claim that he did not act like this? Start. The student asked his teacher, "Is there anything more important to you than prayer?" The teacher asked him to go to a nearby chaga and cut off a branch thereof and the student did as he commanded. The teacher asked him, "Are you still? Is the tree alive?" The student said, as it was before. "Go and cut the roots," said the teacher. The disciple said, "If you do that, the tree will die." The teacher said, "Prayer is the branch of the tree that is called. Its root is faith. Faith may exist without prayer, but it can't. There will be prayer without faith, my son."